Hi, everybody. It's Julie.
Hey, it's JT.
And welcome back to the Talk of the Town podcast.
Today we had on Diana. She's the owner of Brighter Days Candle Company. And this was a really cool story. She told us everything about what it was like starting her candle company from her garage and how she went from going to the markets to now owning her own store and running workshops.
She's located in Marlboro, New Jersey. She runs workshops every week. You can come in and shop her store and even make your own candle from start to finish. Be sure to leave us a review on Spotify. It really helps us out a lot. And give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. We hope you guys enjoy the episode and getting to know Diana. All right. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I'm Diana. I'm the owner of Brighter Days Company. I'm 29 years old and I'm from New Jersey. I currently live in Freehold, but I grew up north in Bayonne and Jersey City. And I moved here probably about like 12 years ago, my senior year of high school.
Nice. So tell us about how you got started with Brighter Days. Where did it all begin? Why and how?
Yeah. So Brighter Days was really, it started off as kind of like a love for candles. I love burning candles. And I slowly started to realize that the candles that I was burning, I'm not going to name names, but the candles that I was burning were really bad for my health. I was getting asthma attacks. I was getting migraines. I started to notice that my walls and curtains were like staining with this black something. So I started to do more research and kind of realized that we're breathing in such harmful things. So I just went to Hobby Lobby or Michael's and I grabbed a kit and I started making my own, did more research. And we're going back like 7 years now. So 7 or 8 years ago, there really wasn't so much information about candle making as there is now. So a lot of it was just trial and error. And it just was like a hobby. It was just something that I gave to friends and family for holidays and birthdays. And then it slowly started to kind of become this idea. The name, I always wanted to name it Brighter Days. And it just came to me one day when I was working. And one day I kind of looked at my husband and I was like, I think it's go time. I think we actually do something with this. And we started to do farmers markets. We created a website. We signed an LLC. And then the farmers markets were the biggest thing for us because it just grew organically from there. People just bought the product and the rest is kind of history from there.
Wow. So I remember you telling me when we first met that you started making them out of your house.
Yeah.
And then how did you go from that to being I want to open a candle making workshop and a whole storefront?
Yeah. So going back to starting, I was also pregnant. So I had to stop working. And I couldn't just sit at home and do nothing. So this is when I started making the candles in my house. And it was chaos, but it was something we just started. So I couldn't afford to rent out a space, storage. So it was between my mom's garage and we live in a condo, a 1,300 square foot condo. So it was living room, kitchen, dining room, candles were just everywhere. There was wax everywhere. So starting at home was definitely a necessity to learn and then to also save some money to be able to open up a space in the future. But I feel also when you start a business, you don't always realize how big it can get. Yeah. So you're kind of just oh, this is a cute little thing I'm doing now, making some money here and there. But the demand was definitely growing and I was okay, it's time we look at a space. So I would say probably a year in, I looked into a space down in Point Pleasant with my friend Ashley who does jewelry. Again, it was to save money. We both found a small studio. We just split the rent in half and we started there. Same thing, quickly outgrew it. I needed a new space. So we found this location, which is 3 times the size of what I had. Summer will be 4 years that we've had this place. And it's definitely crazy, but it's fun. It's nice to also separate life and work too. Because if you have your work at home, it can get disorganized and chaotic for sure.
Totally.
Yeah. What was it like running it out of your house originally? Were you like doing like candles in the garage or something?
So it was candles in the garage. Candle making is also tough because it has to be temperature controlled. So during the winter time, it was really tough. So it was in the kitchen, mostly like in my kitchen, our condo. So picture me like with a 1-month-old making candles at 2:00 in the morning between like feedings in my kitchen, getting ready for a market, like boxes on the table, on the floor. It was chaos, but it was fun. But I'll never forget, there was like one time we went to go sit down to eat dinner, and I like turned out of the kitchen with the plates, and I looked at our dining room table and there was nowhere to sit. And I like was like, okay, now it's time to like do something. Like, we can't do this anymore. But it's fun. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
And were you making, I mean, you were doing these markets and stuff, but were you also like fulfilling orders at that point? Like, did you have an online store when you were like sending out orders as well? And like, how quickly did that take off? Did you use social media, or was it mostly the markets? Like,
I would say our biggest thing was definitely markets.
Okay.
Just because it's more, you're kind of also creating and growing your brand, and you have to kind of explain it to people because people are unfamiliar with who you are. Anything that's like therapeutic or scented is really hard online because people love to smell it like firsthand. So markets were our biggest thing. I mean, I was doing probably like 2 to 3 markets a week, and then it quickly grew. I grew a team of girls. I would just like throw them supplies and it'd be like, hey, you go set up here, I'll be here. So then sometimes we're at like 2 or 3 locations in one day. But that is like that was the biggest thing for us, is just getting our name out there, getting more people familiar with like who we were. And it was also a learning experience for me because you firsthand get to see people's reactions of how they react to your product. So if people didn't like something, you were like, okay, maybe I should change that. If that product isn't selling well, or people are making faces at the candle, maybe it doesn't smell good and we should just like get rid of it. So I love the markets for that aspect, meeting people like firsthand, putting a face to the name, and just creating those relationships.
Yeah, that is really cool, especially like when you're selling a product online. You can't really get that feedback. Like, the only feedback that you get is that someone didn't buy it. And sometimes it's hard to even say who was clicking on it and looking at it. So that's really cool to be able to see that.
Think about that it's kind of tough to buy candles online.
It is. Like, we do still sometimes struggle with that, for sure. You know, the online has definitely grown, but it's more so people who have bought from us before and are looking to like reorder. But like I said, with anything online that you have to smell, even like perfume, like it's very rare that you buy like perfume online too, because you want to see what it smells like. It's very like, it's a personal thing to you. So
yeah, that's true.
Do you still do the markets? Like,
so we've definitely do less now just because we have to staff the store. But our biggest thing is like the Asbury Bazaar during the holidays. I will never not do that market. It's just such a great experience, and the energy and the environment is just very warm and welcoming, and it's always nice to see those familiar faces again, and to see who's been with you since like the beginning. So it's really cool.
Yeah. And how, like, where did you come up with the idea of, like, so you're making candles and now you have this big, beautiful workshop where you actually teach people to make candles and then they get to take them home with them after they're done. Like, that's just such a unique idea. And I don't know, at the time, like, was anyone else doing this, or like, did you kind of come up with this? And like, why do you think there's like a draw to this type of like workshop?
So personally, I love hosting. I love hosting friends and family, and I love doing events. You know, I always love decorating. Just event planning in general was kind of always like it was like on the back burner in college. But the idea of candle making workshops kind of came up on its own. People were just asking for it. And I kept saying no for so long because it was so intimidating to me. And it was just like this whole, I don't like change. So like, it was like this whole new thing that I had to learn, essentially. Like, how do I teach people? And it's also scary because now you're trying to grow this business, you have your recipe, your formula, and now you're teaching it to others. Are these people now going to start candle businesses? Like, so I had to get over that fear, and I did my first market at a winery down south, and it was, I don't want to say a disaster, but it was definitely a learning experience because the online website actually glitched and we sold more tickets than I was able to handle. Like we're talking about like double the amount. And I found out the morning of, so I had to like scurry around and like find supplies because we were only prepped for like, let's say 20 people and we sold 45 tickets. So but I think getting thrown into the fire like that was a great experience because then I was able to see what I can handle. And thank God there was wine. We were at a winery, so that was great. And then just seeing people's reactions for experiences, like being able to experience something that they've never done before. Because I don't think at that time there was anybody else who really did anything like that. So it was cool to be able to bring that to people's, places, whether it's wineries, boutiques, different like bazaars and stuff. So it was really cool. And that's kind of what made where we are, a place because I wanted a home base. I wanted people to be able to come here instead of relying on other people's real estate to be able to host these events.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool.
And even like you just mentioned, like that one hurdle that you had to come over and just even getting the courage to like start this other portion of your business. Like what are some of the more challenging things that you've had to overcome, and like how does that kind of relate back to like an entrepreneurial spirit that you have? Like did you always have this like ability to like overcome things like that, or do you think that's something that like you learn as a business owner over time? You just have to take hits and like keep going?
I think it's always a learning experience. I mean, even after doing this for 7 years, you learn something new every day. I think our biggest thing was opening this location. Just expanding to a huge location means more rent. You have to hire employees, bigger costs. So that wasn't scary on its own. Now we're opening this location. We get the keys end of February, and March 1st, we're like starting construction. We're so excited. A week later, COVID hits and everything shuts down. And I kind of like sat here and I was like crying, and I was like, what do we do now? Because it was such an unknown time.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh, 2 weeks, like we'll be back open. 2 weeks passed by and like everything's still closed. We couldn't get permits. Like we couldn't get people in here. Everyone was scared. And I was like, okay. I was like, is the world ending? And we just expanded our business. We put so much money into this place and we committed to something for 5 years. And now here we are and we don't know what's going to happen next. So I think that was really scary. I mean, I think we made the best of it. We kind of just had to, it was a waiting game. It was just, waiting for the township. Everything was delayed, I would say probably like 4 months.
Yeah.
But once we were able to open, it was awesome. Like our first workshop, we sold out because I think there was this sense of community during that time too, which was really cool. And I think during COVID, people were looking to experience things with other people, but they didn't feel comfortable enough to bring them into their own homes.
Yeah.
Restaurants were also closed. So we were kind of like that middle ground for family and friends to meet and to be able to experience something together while also being safe. And trying to figure out like regulations, limitations on how many people can come in here, what we were allowed to do, what we were not allowed to do. That was chaos.
Yeah.
But I feel like we always grow the most during like difficult times and we learn the most. So that was definitely a huge learning experience for me.
Yeah, that is like a really rough and tough start to like opening up a business. Like the first like year or two is like not normal at all and like what it should be. So that's like great that you were able to like still make the best of it and get through that. And now like it being able to experience a more normal sense of like community and that's rough.
Yeah, it was crazy because, like I said, like you're already so scared of this expansion. I'm also very impulsive, So I kind of was like, yeah, like, let's just do it. Let's sign the lease. Like, it was the day of the showing. And then like 2 weeks later, like, I was like, what did I do? So, but
Yeah.
it's all good.
So tell us a little bit like what you were like as a kid. Did you always have like an entrepreneurial strike in you? Did you have any family members or friends in your life that were kind of like influences that were entrepreneurial?
Yeah, I mean, so my grandfather had his own construction company. My
Okay.
mom worked for him as his manager. So I definitely, grew up. We were in my mom's car all the time after school, driving from site to site from the office. We were just pretty much following my mom, eating sandwiches and like soup in the car because we never had dinner at home. So I did have that growing up. My mom never wanted us to have a business. She was just like, no, go to school, 4-year degree, and get like a 9-to-5 job. It's going to be easier because she saw it firsthand, how hard it is to own your own business. Yeah. So I also don't like listening to people. I have a very hard time being told what to do. So I think that kind of lit like a fire under my butt to be able to do what I wanted to do. And even with any job I did, I always went above and beyond. So I just thought to myself, why am I going above and beyond for somebody else when I can do that for my own self? I always got promoted to manager. So I was like, I obviously have this hardworking drive in me. Yeah. And, now being an entrepreneur, it's so hard to go back to like that 9-to-5 or working for somebody else because yes, you're always working, but you also still have that flexibility of being able to take my son to a soccer game or, go out to dinner with my parents or to like lunch with my mom.
Yeah.
So I think it starts with not liking being told what to do. Yeah. For sure.
That definitely helps.
Yeah.
And that's interesting that your mom like was part of like a business and like basically owned a business and was still like encouraging you to like work a 9-to-5 because I feel like it's like grass is always greener type of situation. Always want what you can't have. And like, I mean, we're very anti 9-to-5, but like we also see that there's a lot of benefit in it, and there's some people that thrive in it and like it a lot. But just from like what we've seen and what like we've heard from other, business owners, like there's just so much time, flexibility. There you have endless potential as far as income. You can make as little or as much money as you want when you're in like a salary job. Like they're the ones telling you what you're making and they're capping you at a certain point. So Correct. It's cool that like you've grown to this point and like you've learned all these skills now and you can take those skills and do like literally whatever you want with them. So it's just like, it's so awesome to see like where you started to like where you're at right now and where you're going to be in another 5 years.
I think also like my biggest I guess motivation would be like my son. When I started this brand, I knew I wanted to be home to be able to raise him. I didn't want anyone else raising him. I just wanted to be there. I wanted to be at the soccer game because my mom was always there for me, always driving me to dance, always at my, volleyball games. So I wanted to do that same thing for my son. Yeah. And it's awesome that I can do that because I can tell in kids, because I'm in school a lot, I can tell in kids, whose parents are there. And listen, parents work. I applaud people who work 9-to-5 office jobs. Like it's really hard. Yeah, I'm just very grateful for the opportunity to be there for him, to be there in school with him, to watch him score his first goal, And mind you, when I was doing markets, I mean, I was like pumping in my car, like, in between. So it's like, yes, it's difficult and like you manage it, but it's definitely the freedom that is, the freedom is great.
Yeah. If you could like go back to like when you're making the candles in the kitchen and like kind of be able to take a glimpse into like where you're at right now, like is there anything that you would do differently? Would you get a storefront more quickly or do you feel like it kind of happened like as it should?
I think, like I said, I think this goes back to always learning, new things. When we open this, our biggest thing, because besides the events, we also have a production room where we fulfill retail and wholesale orders. So we needed a space that was big enough to do both. And with the location we're at now, we're not really on a main street. I think that's going to be our next step. to, you know, be on a main street, because we were never supposed to be a store. We were just supposed to be like an event space. Yeah. But at the time, we didn't really think about that. So, you know, I think it's baby steps. I think a brand is always evolving and always growing. And would I change anything? Probably not, because it's part of the journey. And I love where we're at now. The only thing I would say, and any advice to aspiring entrepreneurs, is get your finances right, like in check immediately. Like get a bookkeeper, get an accountant, get someone to run the numbers for you, because you need something to compare it to for like the following month or like the following year to see if it's even worth it, to see what you have to improve on. Yeah. That would be the only thing, is just to, I hate that part of running a business.
He's a bookkeeper.
I know. And we just recently, I mean, my husband always did that stuff, but he also doesn't know, you know, that everything when it comes to bookkeeping. So last year, I guess, we finally hired a bookkeeper. Nice. And she's been a saving grace. You know, it's just nice for someone else to also take that off your plate so you can focus on other creative things.
Yeah. Plus, like, you're not like I didn't go to school for like accounting and like all finance, and
twice at Brookdale. So
like that's like you want to be able to put your focus to something else, like to have that like off of your back and organize is so crucial.
And you also want it done right too.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
So then in the year, the IRS is like, "Oh, how much did you make?" And I'm like, "I don't know.
Yeah,
you tell me. Aren't you supposed to know?"
Literally.
So it's nice for someone to be able to take that off your plate for sure.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'm still like working through that too. It's a learning experience, because you don't know when you open a business, like you're just pulling money from wherever, and you're just making it work, and you're not thinking about like, and also like coming from a 9-to-5, like they do all that for you, so you don't have to worry about like that kind of stuff. You're not thinking about taxes, so you have a lot more to think about when you have a business and write-offs and all that kind of stuff. So that's great advice. Yeah, right.
Like as a business owner, you have to do everything. So I guess, what is your favorite thing about running your business? What do you get most excited about?
I think I would say this the day I die: pouring candles. That is just, there's something so therapeutic about pouring candles when I'm like in my own space, just me, the wax, and the jars. Like, it's just something, it's relaxing. There's no pressure. Well, sometimes, but for the most part, there's no pressure. I don't really have to be creative because I'm just making the product. I don't have to worry about numbers. I don't have to worry about talking to people. It's just me doing what I love. And I feel like even the girls that work here say the same thing. Pouring candles is like their favorite thing. Yeah. I don't know if it's like the motion of like the pots pouring out the wax. I don't know. It's fun.
It seems like very like therapeutic.
Yeah. It's very relaxing.
Calming. Like there's not many jobs where, I mean, there's a lot of jobs actually that are very repetitive, but they may be repetitive in like stressful ways. Right. Whereas like something like this seems like it would be just like very calming and relaxing.
It's cool to see too, because when you're pouring the candle, it's liquid wax that you're pouring. And then after some time, it turns into a solid. And then you're labeling the candle, you're putting the lid on. And at the end, you know, in a day or two, you have a product that's done and made. Yeah. And it's really cool to see the beginning stages to like the end stages when it hits people's shelves, to see it in other stores. It's awesome.
Yeah. And how did you like go about making sure that you were using, like, you're very big into like non-toxic ingredients, and like how did you educate yourself on that and make sure that everything that you're selling is kind of in line with, you know, with those standards that you have?
I think it's a lot of research and you know, reaching out to different companies and asking them questions, but a lot of it's just research on my own and testing. We are very lucky to be able to, we kind of cut out the middleman and we work straight with the manufacturer. So we get our wax from the manufacturer. We work with our oil manufacturer that creates our fragrances. So we have more control over what goes into our candles. At the end of the day, we're trying to create a clean burning candle. So we want to know what we're putting into it. Yeah. Sometimes when you order from different distributors, you don't know what they're putting into it because they're not 100% transparent.
Yeah.
So we did research, found our manufacturers, like our soy wax is 100% natural wax, no additives, no chemicals, no parabens. And the same thing with our fragrances. I found an awesome sales rep who actually reached out to me, and working with him and asking him questions, I was more knowledgeable about the oils and more conscious about what, we're putting into our candles. And it's, like I said, it's really cool to have that control over what goes into it.
Yeah.
And then also creating something that's custom to your brand, right?
Yeah.
If you order from distributors, there's a chance that somebody else might have the same scent.
Yeah.
So creating these different, custom scents for just us also gives us that identity where people come back to us to get those specific scents because they love them.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like when I see certain brands, you can kind of see through brands when they don't really care about certain aspects like that. And as someone who is like more health conscious in that way, I love that, like, that is something that you promote, and that all of your products, like, they're very consistent, and I've never had a bad product from you. Like, they're all just so amazing. It's the only candles that I burn in our house. Like, they are seriously the best. I gift them to everyone. They're amazing.
I appreciate that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's I guess solving a problem, right? Your own problem. So with me having asthma, suffering from migraines, obviously these chemicals and these candles is what was triggering it. So, making these candles, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's out there that has these issues. And I actually get a lot of positive feedback from people who have serious allergies or sensitivities. I mean, just this morning I had a meeting with someone, and she was like, I don't burn candles. This is actually my son's teacher. She was like, I don't burn candles because they are overpowering. They give me headaches. And I gifted her one for Christmas. And she was like, I've been burning it since December. And she's like, and it's awesome. And to be able to hear that feedback back from people it's really nice. And it makes me feel really good because it kind of gives me like a purpose. Like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing. For people that don't know, like, tell us about, like, walk us through what a class here looks like. Like, what can they expect? Like, how can they book groups? Can they do events here? Like, the whole rundown.
Yeah. So we have open workshops, and then we have private parties. So with open workshops, we have our calendar on our website. We sell our tickets through Eventbrite, and we pretty much host about like 8 workshops a week, Wednesday through Sunday. So you can pick a date and time that works best for you. You can sign up with a couple of friends. You can sign up by yourself, with your boyfriend, girlfriend. When you come into a class, we have our scent bar, which has about like 30 fragrances to choose from. And we do have seasonal ones that we carry, during the holidays and spring and summer. So when you come in, you grab an apron, you start off by picking your scents. Your ticket includes 2 8-ounce candles. So you get to pick, 2 different scents. Most of the scents, actually all the scents on the wall are blended already with different scent notes in it. We actually went back and forth with this when we first started. Should we do individual oils, different scent notes, or should we have blends already made together? And I'm very thankful we chose the blended route already because it's less confusing for people who have no idea, and most people who walk into the store have no idea what to expect.
Of course, yeah.
So, the scents themselves are blended already, but you are also welcome to blend the blends if you want to. So, you pick your scents, you sit down, we walk you through the entire process. We have the supplies out for you. You have your jars, your wicks stickers. So we walk you through from beginning to end how to prep your jar, how to measure your scents, and then we bring out the wax for you. So it's very hands-on. You're doing everything on your own. We're obviously there to help you and guide you. And then the candles do take some time to cool. And we want you to be able to take your candles home with you. So while your candles are cooling, you can design your label. So we have people who send in pictures. You can also, decorate your own label. We have blank templates. And then once your candle is cooled and ready to go, you get to take your candle home with you. And within like 3 days, you can burn it after it cures.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's nice. It's like an activity. We're also BYO, so you can bring like food and drinks to hang out, while your candles are cooling. But it's, you're doing an activity. It's something fun, but you also get to use it, when you
Yeah.
get home too, which is really nice. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Does someone that like doesn't really know about candles pick a scent when they make their own candle? Because like for me, I'm like I have no way. I guess my brain is always like trying to like categorize things in different buckets.
Yeah.
And like I could not categorize like smells in different categories if you made me, other than like Christmas and like non-Christmas.
Yeah.
I think those are my two categories for candles.
I think we have a good range of different scents, anything from like floral to woods to fruitiness to, you know, citrusy scents. So we're obviously there to guide you. At the end of the day, I think a person always gravitates towards a certain scent. And we always tell you to have your nose lead you to the scent. So once you start smelling, I think your brain just kind of tells you like, I don't like this, but we like this. So I think we kind of like leave that up to you. Like I said, we're obviously there to guide you. But with guys, it's actually really cool because I feel like guys come in here very intimidated, but then I think guys get most creative with their scents. They're like, ooh, I'm going to mix this and like, I like this one and that one. So it's fun to see because everyone's so different, you know, with what they pick. But yeah, that's the scent bar.
Nice. So what's next for you? Like, what do you want to kind of put out into the universe and like manifest, or like where do you see, you know, I know this is like a very loaded question, but like where do you see Brighter Days like in the next few years? Like what do you want to do?
So I think our 1-year goal is to expand the brand, add new products, you know, get more candles out there with different label designs, get more scents, possibly add more home fragrances. So like room sprays and diffusers, you know, things like that. And then also getting into more stores. So kind of getting our name out there more so people become more familiar with us. I think that's the biggest way to grow your brand is through wholesale and, you know, reaching different states and different clienteles. I think our 5-year goal is to either relocate or open up a new location. You know, I think this was a huge learning experience for us, and I would do things a little bit differently in the sense of like design and hiring, you know, somebody to like help out with that. But I think since we opened during COVID, it was kind of like we worked with what we had.
Yeah.
And then I think just expanding because we're running out of room in the back. So
That's a good thing.
yeah, it is a good thing.
So we want to do some rapid fire questions with you.
Oh no.
I don't know. We did not send these to you.
Okay, that's fine.
We do this every episode. So just answer as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Whatever comes to your mind, you could just say. And yeah. Okay. So the first one is, if you could describe your personality in one candle scent, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Oh my God. Hold on. I'm like trying to think. I would say blackcurrant and jasmine.
Okay.
It's like fruity, but like floral, a little bit of everything. You don't know what you're going to get.
If you did not make or sell candles, what would you be doing right now?
I would say event planning.
Very cool. Pork roll or Taylor ham?
Pork roll.
Least favorite scent?
I would say like citrusy, like super citrusy fresh scents. Not crazy about them.
Favorite New Jersey beach?
Asbury Park.
What is your go-to playlist for the store?
We play clean retail, so like it's usually like throwbacks to like early 2000s and Usher.
What holiday has the best candle scents?
Oh, Christmas, hands down.
Nice.
Mistletoe, toasted marshmallow.
This one might be controversial, but favorite candle company besides your own?
Ooh. I would probably say she's this cute little small business, Homebody Candle Co.
Nice.
Her products are awesome, but I love watching her on Instagram. She's just so cute, and like you can also tell she puts like a lot of love into her products. So
Nice.
Homebody Candle Co.
All right. Best night out spot in New Jersey.
Asbury Park.
Any specific places?
I've had some great times at like Watermark,
Okay.
Asbury Ale House. I'm actually going there Friday, so
Nice.
Asbury in general is fun. The basement in Asbury,
Cool.
great times.
All right. Last question. What is the most candles you've made in one day?
450 candles.
Oh my gosh.
That was like an all-day thing. 2 separate pots.
Oh my
I think
goodness.
we worked like 14 hours. Yeah, it was holiday time at the Asbury Park Bazaar. Crazy.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Your location, website, Instagram, how to book events, all of that.
Yeah, so we're located in Marlboro, New Jersey, 87 South Main Street. We're right off of 18. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we're Brighter Days Company. Same thing with Facebook. And if you want to book an event or book a workshop, you can go to our website, brighterdaysco.com/workshops.
Cool. Perfect. And then just like a little ending question. We do this with all of our guests. If you like give one piece of advice to an aspiring entrepreneur, I know you kind of did that already with the finances, but if you have any other tips for just like a young business person.
I would say surround yourself with people who are very like-minded like you and who are kind of going in that same direction. Maybe not opening a business, but are, motivated. I mean, I've become the best of friends with some of local businesses that I've worked with, and they've stayed. They've just been my consistent friends, and even my best friend I've met through a recent collab we did like a couple years ago, and they're the people that get you, and they're the people that will also motivate you to be better and do more things. And I would also say be consistent, put yourself out there, do the markets, meet people face to face. Yes, it is intimidating, but people want to know the person behind the brand. Even with the store here, like I've pulled back a little bit from being here, and people always ask like, oh, is Diana here? People always want to see you and see how you're doing. And they want you to know that they're supporting not just, the business, but they're supporting you too. So
Awesome. Thanks for having us here. I love being here. It's just the best energy.
Thank you.
It really is like such a great spot. I love it.
That.
Yeah. Alrighty. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.